Hello there everybody, welcome back to GRS Tier 1. We're here for round number 6 of the Dutch Grand Prix. I was going to say Netherlands or Zandvoort Grand Prix, but that didn't sound quite right in my head. Just waiting on a couple of drivers or maybe even potential no-shows to hurry up. May get the instruction to launch the lobby soon. Only currently got 12 people in the grid, but yeah, we may get a couple more throughout qualifying. The grid has been told to ready up now, so retrospectively it might be a bit of a less eventful race than what we've had the last couple of times. I will be coughing a little bit, so I do apologise. Got the cough that everyone in the UK can't seem to get rid of at the moment. I'm also joined by Harley. I'm not sure if he's here yet, but he had to go and take some stuff downstairs. So got two of us. Nearly as many people as we got on the grid, but it's fine. We will manage. Let's just check that the stream is running while we're loading in. Should be completely fine. Beautiful. We're all good, right? Cool. Fantastic stuff. Cool. Everyone's loaded in. We'll have the fun of games. Just waiting for crossplay to catch up. God, it looks weird having 12 drivers. Bit of an overcast qualifying session. Track doesn't look too warm. We might see just about everyone book it out of the pit lane as quick as they can to put the setups on, because we might have some rain. I'm just still waiting on people to consoles to load in. Got 4 PlayStation players and then the rest on PC. Nice and easy.
Everyone's left the session.
Everyone's left?
Well, there's about 4 people I've seen leave. Or it might be me, actually.
You may have got lobby split.
Yeah, no, I have. Yeah.
Okay, no worries. Par has joined one of our late shows, so we'll have 13 people driving, which is always nice. Yoni Foss is leading the way. Behind him, of course, is I and Bill Bass. These two basically joined at the hip so far this championship, so it'll be interesting to see just how close they can qualify to each other, as it has been pretty close up at the top between these guys. The likes of Mills, Pavlakovic, Pukanin, Bauschka, and everyone else, all trying to, well, get in front of them. And Zandvoort's a pretty important track for qualifying. You see Yoni absolutely monster the curb on his outlaps. Exactly what you want to do. See what these guys can do. I'm expecting low 11s, high 10s right off the bat. These guys are very quick. So we get a good old tour from Foss here. Hooks it in nicely. You don't want to ride the curb on this inside, so you want to get as close as you can. And now we'll go on to Iron Bill Bass, who's managed to keep the car pointing the right way. Downshifts into 5th here. Goes all the way down to 2 for rotation. Probably going to exit in 4th gear here. It's a little bit tricky on the throttle. Track not rubbered in. It still looks pretty cold out there, so probably not quite hitting PB times or anything of the sort. Through Schijvlek. Downshifting to 6th. Through these 2 right-handed corners here, and then again just downshifting, full rotations, kissing the curbs. Right up close to the white line here on this one. Down the DRS. Technically back straight, it's more of a middle straight. Nice mounting on the curb there, 2nd gear for rotation. Around the last couple of corners, flat through the banked right-hander while it's dry, of course. This will give us a good benchmark for what the laps are looking to be. I think it's going to be a... oh! So 10-8. Starting us off strong, and then Posh or Mateus the 110.7.
Yeah, you're still on starting screen.
Ah! Why am I like this?
Don't know.
I'm sure people will drive faster than what they've done at the start of qualifying. I hope it doesn't rain.
You'd imagine so. I hope it's like 8-10 separating everyone, like it was yesterday. But it's only like 3.5 minutes, so I will allow you to with your interizing.
Right, well,
No,
we can actually see what's going on this time. We've had the audio descriptive outlap and, well, P2 lap so far. Now I can actually see where everyone is. This will be quite good. And, apologies. Me and this game have not got on very well this week. Who we still got out on a lap? I believe the likes of maybe just Johnny. Since Quill had a little half spin on the exit curb. See what Johnny can do now that we can actually see him. Went through the left-hander, keeps it in fourth. It's for minimum speed. He's got a fuel warning light and he's quite low on battery. Expecting again high 10s, low 11s. Right, so 11 dead. It's a pretty decent lap time overall. We've got George Carr. Parr in the car on an outlap. He's about to start in the Aston Martin, so stay on board with him. As most people have booked it back to the pit lanes and they've finished their first runs. Let's see what the Aston Martin driver can do. Decent enough turn one, risks it on the exit curb a bit there. Oof, nearly loses the back end. That will be detrimental to his lap time. He may even just back off. Maybe he wants the banker. This might just show that weather could intervene. Oof, places it a little bit early on the entry through shy flag. I don't think this will be a particularly competitive time, so there'll be a lot of time for the Aston Martin driver to gather. Just hooking his way through. Just a bit wide here and there, minimum speed a bit low here and there. Says he's got a purple sector too, but obviously, as we all know with the F1 game, if you haven't set a lap, it will just kind of do that when it feels like it. Power is very low on battery here, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a high 11, maybe a low 12 here. To the mid 12, 12.5. At least he's got the bank of time in. So ahead of Pavlakovic in the Mercedes at the moment, and Coates and the Aston Martin now coming through the final sector. See what the Red Bull driver can do. Seems to be a little bit laggy. Shouldn't really do any harm in qualifying. This is also looking like it's going to be in the 11s. It's an 11.7 for the Aston Martin driver. Sorry, the Red Bull driver. Grid's fairly close, especially in the mid-pack. Got a lot of drivers in the 11s. Seen in other qualifying sessions this week with GRS. If you're able to find even half a second, it's a hell of a lot of time that you'll gain during the race, just with all the grid positions you'll gain. Some drivers are now going out on their outlaps. Who's leading the pack? Well, that's the question. I think Luke Mills is, unless Ferrari driver, I think, has just started a lap. So we'll actually stay on board with the Ferrari driver as well. Coates has left the session. Hopefully he'll be able to get back in nice and quick. There's a Steam user who should be able to join on Luke. Good traction out of the... I know it's banked, but it's a tricky left-hander to get traction right. Thrown through shy flags. He's just over a tenth up at the moment. But the awkward blind right-hander loses the back end of his car, and that's any advantage he's going gone. He might just commit to the lap anyway. Ooh. The rear end overcommitted a little bit there. Lost the front wing end plate, so we'll be limping back to the pit lane, unfortunately. So we'll hop on board with Mills now. Just judging off of side fleck alone, it seems like Luke might be running some low downforce wings. It's a coast a bit longer than you may want to on a slightly more loaded setup. Nonetheless, he's coming through to the end of Sector 2. It's a 49.4. He's about equal with his time. It's a purple Sector 2 though. We've got a Mercedes round in Sector 2. We'll give them some privacy. That little Spinala. Mill's getting very squirrely on that exit curve. The curves around Zandvoort, the ones you can't mount are absolutely lethal, and that is lap done. Into the pits goes the Luke. So Quill is down on their lap time and doesn't necessarily have the battery to go for another lap. I would critique their battery harvesting skills if they decided to do it, so it was so nice to point out I was harvesting battery in neutral wrong the other day. But helpful tips like that do allow back-to-back pushing, so it's all good. As Cameron Doran unfortunately just mounts that left inside curve at the midi hairpin section, that will lose tenths just from that minor error. That being said, there are a few lines you can take through that corner just to get the car around. He may have got just a decent launch at the corner. Let's see if he can improve. He's on 11.8 at the moment. He does go up to P7 with an 11.5. Arguably could be sitting P5 right now if that start of Sector 3 was a little bit more polished. Anyone else on a lap at the moment? I think Foss is coming towards the end of an out lap, deploying the battery through the back right hander now. Stable with the Williams again. Unless we've got anyone else ahead. You know what? Jonathan will be back. Rodgewell's on a lap. Sort of sick on board with Rodgewell. Very good racer. He's in a title hunt for F2 at the moment, I believe. A very, very good side-by-side racer. Respectful driver, so hopefully he can put himself a bit higher up on the grid just to really show that off to everybody. No new pole times yet. By the looks of things. Let's see what Rodgewell's mid-sector split is. He's 4.5 tenths up. This is going to catapult him up to about P5 if he can keep this. Gets less than ideal mounting on the curve on the right side there. Would have cost about half a tenth, I think. Keeps the throttle pinned through the bank right-hander. That's about 11.1 from Rodgewell. Actually nearly goes P4. He's right up there challenging for the top spots at the moment. Foss is down on his overall time. Let's see what Iron can do. About half a tenth up going through the end of Sector 2 here. Couple of cars up ahead. Hopefully they're able to get out of the way in time. Iron absolutely monsters that curve and gains a tenth at the second sector split. Coming now through the final corner. Doesn't look like any of these cars are going to hold him up at all. There's quite far left on that curve just to carry speed through. Doesn't upset the car at all. This is going to be a fantastic time. It's a 10.6. It's my PB. Jesus Christ. A regular quali session with less than ideal track conditions. That's a very good time. I think Pukkinen's just on a recharge lap. Misinput his Haas car up into P3. Very impressive nonetheless. Coates in the Red Bull just finishing a lap, going on to an 11.6. I think I miss Hugo jump up to P5, and Mills has managed to get a 10.7. Okay, now this grid is very close. Half a second covering the top 8. Which with Slipstream and DRS around this track will keep everybody nose to stern, basically. Anyone pushing at the moment. Bauschke's going in, Ken's going in, Hugo's definitely on a cooldown lap. Coates on a cooldown lap. Iron's going in. So no one currently on a push lap. Watch the Williams of Mills go around. Don't bin it. Actually do bin it. That would be incredibly funny. Get it all wrong on the curb here. Spin round. Spin here. Nah, he's too good of a driver for that, especially on a cooldown lap. That would be an embarrassing stamp on his report card if he was to spin out on a cooldown lap. We haven't really got anything else to do other than now hop on board with the Aston Martin of George Parr, probably the first of the cars going on their final run. We got a spin! Our patience has rewarded us dearly there. That'll warm up the rears a bit for the Aston Martin driver, and then there's it's good tab outs. I can't remember a Ferrari's name. He's actually now overtaken the Aston Martin. Absolute crazy move. There's Martin Ivanov in the other Ferrari car. Ryan Bill Bass's teammate. Hasn't scored points so far this season, but you'd argue this is the time to do it with only 13 drivers on the grid. Let's see what he can do. Stay on board. Unless there's a dire mistake. We've got an Aston Martin right behind. I said it! It's like I knew. George Parr winning the spin-off series. Manages to keep all four wheels on his Aston Martin car. We'll stay aboard with him. This is your price, George. You get a hot lap on me. Congratulations. We're going through Schijvlek. Mounts inside curb a little bit, but it's not really too dangerous or anything like that. Wise to avoid that inside curb. You can take it at your own peril. Braking on the left side of that curb there can unsettle the car if you go too far across. Takes a wide line. This is my favoured line going in, just so you can really straighten up the car on exit. Braking about 75 metres here, mounting the curve nicely through this left hand. For some reason the car gets all skittish. I should go too far in on the inside mid-corner there. Looking out pretty nicely. Could have got a tiny bit closer to that white line on the inside right. This looks like a tidy lap from the Aston Martin. I'm going to have to say mid-11s here at least. Just an 11.5. It's about as mid-11s as it gets. 1,000th behind Cameron Don. Very annoyingly. Everyone else just outlapping at the moment. And we've got Cameron Don, lead outlapper. Now I know my OBS is working and I'm on the correct screens. Let's get the stream up. Only got one like and no one has commented yet. How rude. Anyway, we now got Cameron Don, the Mercedes, rounding out the final corner. If he makes a mistake early on, he can recharge for a second push lap. You might see the Mercedes driver make that choice if he does anything particularly bad by his own definition. Very tidy racer though, and a good qualifier too, so we'll see what he can do. Realistically speaking, with just how compressed the top half of the field are, even if he just gains a 10th, that'll put him up a position. Then it's all sort of, ooh, this might be a back out lap now from the Mercedes driver. We've got Pavlakovic on a push lap in the second Mercedes. Roswell, I think that is just getting out of the way quite nicely for them. So come through left-hander, taking it in fourth, does risk the back end to get a bit excited. Quill definitely with time to find, and they've found the 2.5. And I think they'd they wouldn't really have committed to sector 3 at this point if they were this far down on where they wanted to be. So we really don't know where this lap could put Quill. Just judging by the mid-sector split, I'm going to say bang in the middle, P8, I think. I'm too good. I'm too good. Absolute scenes. We've got Bill Bass coming round. Backed out. Going again with half battery. Should be interesting. We've got Mateus and the McLaren setting a purple sector 1. Just trying to kind of feature everyone here. Mills on a push lap. I think pretty much everyone is. Who's at the head of the field? Is this Hugo? Hugo trying to recharge as best as he can. Flag has fallen, however, so he won't get a chance. Bausk around in the second sector will leave him to it. George Fry, I don't think, is going to improve, unfortunately. Driver who definitely would like to as well, Coates in the Red Bull. Ooh, he gets unsettled on that curve on the left side. Still, might be a place with a few up for grabs. P10's looking pretty reachable, and that's where he slots his Red Bull car. Decent stuff indeed. So we know Bauschke's not going to improve after that mini spin. So we've got Quillen, the next driver, to come through. Don't really blame them for going for a second push lap, however, I think they're just going to go into the pits. Rodwell next on our hit list, see what he can do in the AlphaTauri. Where's this going to put him? Backs out, interestingly. Cameron Don does improve, but I don't think actually gains anything there. Could be wrong. Minor improvement, maybe. I think I missed Mills going over the line. Improves his lap, but doesn't quite get to Mateus, who stays 2 1,000ths of a second ahead. So we kind of got another one of those situations where the grid is incredibly close. 9 tenths separating these 13 drivers, and yeah, it really is just that close. I think it has been all week around the Netherlands. But yeah, tidy, incident-free qualifying session is what we like to see. Let's transfer that over to the race. Seeing all of the soft tyres that have been used. Yeah, nothing going on really, is there? That's what we like to see. Lovely stuff. So I said I was joined by Harley. He's unfortunately had to drop off somewhere, so it is just me on my Todd. I will do the best that I can. And if you get sick of hearing my voice at the end of the stream, I've done something right. Just waiting for Rochwell to load in. Might alter my setup a bit just so I have a stream running as well if I want to look at any incidents for a second time, get my own personal action replay going, seeing as it's just me in the commentary box. So Rochwell has left the session. That is not ideal. Is there anything about Rochwell typing in the chat? Might need an invite. There's no formation lap here, so his car will start. Here, Rochwell's been kicked. I don't think I have Rochwell either. I don't believe I do, anyway. Got 12 seconds. I don't have Rochwell. I'm sorry, mate. I hope you can join back in. Someone who has you on as an EA friend will have to invite you. We have got 5 red lights in the Netherlands. And away we go. Pretty uneventful start, really, to be fair. Bilbas getting the more favourable of the race starts out of him and Mateus on the front row, and Johnny has managed to hook it up round the... Oh no, it's not Johnny, it's Luke! Luke being the lead Williams driver, and I'm expecting just about everyone to be on hard, so I'm just going to look at things for now. I thought Coates had died, but it was his internet. So I'm just very going to very quickly get tyre detail up. We've got Foss on the softs. Raise your hand if you're expecting a safety car, because this Williams driver must be. Going for a cheeky look up the inside of Buchanan. I don't think the Haas driver's going to want to fight this. That'll affect his total race time way too much. And he wants DRS as well. I think everyone pretty much is going to be in a DRS train. Why have we got Harley's car on the grid? Oh dear. Harley, you're at the back, mate. What are you doing? Wish you know your teammate is. Anyway, further up the grid. I've missed something happen, some form of position change, because Foss is now up to P3, so I think Mateus may have got a bit of a tank slapper on or something, dropping him down a couple of places. He's now in a bit of a ding-dong with Pukkinen, just looking for ways around. Quill's trying to get themselves involved on the medium tyre, and by far the lead medium runner. Only 2 drivers actually being there and present to select this strategy. Mateus just right on the rear diffuser, almost, of the Haas. Now dropping back a little bit. Is Luke? Yeah, Luke is doing ultimate Williams tactics. Beautiful stuff. We love to see it. Go after him, big boy. Go get him. I don't think Iron's even really going to put up much of a defence here. I think he may just keep Foss behind up until a point where he can stick with the pace of the softs. Maybe in about 3 or 4 laps when the softs start to die. Coates has left the session as well. Just going to get the telemetry up so we can see what battery's doing here. As Iron's still got it all to play with, so I think he's just going to play keep away for a few laps. Ultimately, if there is no safety car, then yeah, we may well see Johnny's strategy not necessarily pay off. I liked and I respect the fact he's gone for something different when he was starting slightly lower down on the grid than where he's used to. It's already up to P2. Usual suspects at the front. In championship order as well. Top 4 actually, all in championship order, and then we've got Bausker and Azamjak, which would be 5th and 6th, that aren't here. And then Mateus, who is normally is P7. The next available driver also slotting in championship order. It's kind of cool. One driver isn't, however, is Cameron Don. He's had a bit of a moment, unfortunately, on the hard compound of tyres. I mean, with 3 disconnections, we need 1 retirement, and then it's just every human being should realistically get points, because AIs are somewhat pacey, but they are a bit slow. As we've got moves going on in the midfield. Mateus managed to get past Pukkinen, but more importantly, just outside DRS. Keeping one eye on Discord at the moment with the disconnections of Roswell, just in case there is anything I can do in the commentary booth. I don't think there is. Let's hide this UI, it's kind of ugly. Johnny is, well, I think he's just going to try and give Iron the hurry up here as Coates has left the session. Can I invite Coates? I can't. He has to join off of Luke. Unfortunate for the Red Bull driver. Hopefully he can get back in. I think he was showing a bit of lag in qualifying, so I don't know if it's an internet issue or what. But Foss is just looking to get the move done now. Iron's deploying and has been deploying a lot. We've got a yellow flag. That is Ivanov in the second Ferrari. Managed to keep the car going, thankfully, and Johnny now going around the outside of Iron. You have to think with the superior grip, exit speed and everything, the Williams driver is through. Iron is actually, they both spent a hell of a lot of battery to get all of that sorted, and Mills has spent quite a bit to keep up as well. Everyone on about half or just above or below. And yeah, oh no, Bauschker's there. Sorry, Lucas. I didn't see you, mate. Nice to see that you're here and racing well. At the back of this more or less DRS train, really. So yeah, Foss leads will be looking to get out of DRS of Iron, but not a lot of battery to play with. Not really wanting to go below 10% to show Iron that he's low. Yeah. It's probably not going to break the DRS. I'm not really sure of soft tyre life all that well around Zandvoort either, so God knows. Don't really know how far he can extend the softs. Probably about 12 laps. Ivanov's gone round again. Front wing still attached, so it's just some driver errors creeping in at the moment. I think the curb's haunting the Ferrari driver currently. Zandvoort is a track that will very much teach you, if you go on the curbs, you will probably die. And Iron will see now. Red light flashing on the back of Johnny. That Williams is vulnerable. I don't think he's really going to want to spend anything to get past him. He's just going to take DRS until the Williams pits. Probably be in the next 5 or 6 laps, I'd expect. Not entirely sure. One thing I haven't mentioned is overcast conditions yet again. But I think with the amount of drivers on the hard compounder tyre, we're not really going to see any action from Mother Nature this time around. As Hugo is trying to get within DRS of Quill in the Mercedes. He's kept at P6 currently. Ivanov has, yeah, again had a bit of a moment. Can't expect Zandvoort's his favourite track. He's got 5 seconds for cutting this mini hairpin. He hasn't got a front wing. And he's netted 15 seconds worth of penalties and what I would expect will be a retire in the pits from the Ferrari. Ouch. It's quite harsh. 15 seconds. Speeding into the pit lane and retiring. Whew. I would not want to be in that situation. Getting the hammer thrown by the game like that must be kinda cruel. My word selection today is impeccable. Anyway, I think, well, other than the AIs, which are basically going to be joined at the hip for the entire race, including AI Harley, who's currently in a points playing position. Closest battle on track is Matthias on Luke. Shown the pace in qualifying. And he's with the DRS. I think these guys have got a pretty similar setup in terms of overall downforce. Like a pretty conventional just closing of the gap, as McLaren is a little bit wobbly. Smelling that right hand side curve, and he's going to get punished. Not overly heavy, because it readies him up for a nice exit down the straight into Schijfvlek. Never pronounced it correctly, and I'm not going to try. You're back within about 4.5 tenths, where he's been sat pretty comfortably behind Luke. Has he got enough in him, and has he got enough in the battery department to make a move on the Williams? He is sitting at about 16% advantage at the moment. Foss has managed to get outside of DRS of Iron here. Is Iron going to deploy any to try and get back in? I would expect the tyre advantage to still ever so slightly be in the hands of the softs. Cameron Don, unfortunately, he's had a moment at the back of the grid. Iron, speaking of moments, how many positions is he going to lose here? You've got to think that he's going to lose 2. Luke and Matthias probably going to get him. He's deploying like mad. Luke's not going to have DRS. No one actually got DRS because he spun right at the detection point. And we now have a very exciting 3-way fight. Luke gets a bit of a wobbler. No room for Iron to get through whatsoever. Matthias and the McLaren has managed to get up into P2. Loving this. Pukkinen's loving this. Quill's loving this. As we've now got 5 drivers covered by about 2 seconds. And this is what I wanted to see. This might incite some chaos in the form of a surprise safety car. You got to think Foss, looking behind in his rearview mirror, is just thinking, please, someone go for a stupid dive bomb. As long as it's not on Luke, because he's my teammate. Take someone out. Give me a safety car. Bish bash bosh. Safety car for Foss would put him between the 2 Aston Martins, I think, if he would have pit under one. There's a big incentive for... Well, I say incentive like he's got any choice of the matter, but I'm sure Johnny's thinking, if I get safety car right now, then this is a creme de la creme. Pit onto the hards. Mediums probably go for about 20 laps here, so I don't think Johnny's ever doing a soft medium. Unless he's jacked the pressures up, and then temps are normally an issue at that stage anyway. The strain is still very close. No position changes just yet. I mean, other than Quill, who's on their 9-lap-old mediums, which are probably about to cross over in terms of pace with softs. Oh, George, it's unfortunate, mate. A little spin. I thought it may have been some damage or something there. Is there damage on the Aston Martin? No, everything's attached, which is always good. Can carry on. But this chasing pack is starting to reel in Foss a little bit here, and you got to think over the next couple of laps. They're going to reel him in quite a bit. And to be honest, if Foss can extend until sort of lap 13, lap 14, it's an ask. But I think a soft medium would be doable. It wouldn't be quick. So we'll start losing like 2 seconds a lap on the softs when they fall off a cliff, which I think they've just about started to do. They look pretty square on the Williams car at the moment. So Posh has had a moment. Mills has just put his car through the gap. Things are pretty much still as they are. The 5-car train, Quill trying to hold on, just sort of slowly falling off a bit, I think, as tyre deg starts to play in. Quill's tyre management, overall tyre wear is pretty good. They normally do get an extra couple of laps out of their tyres. Despite the position change from Posh's Sector 1 little squirrely moment, these guys are still gaining on Foss, and you'd argue that there's about 2.5 temps missed because of Posh's incident gaining on Foss. I wouldn't be surprised if they get half a second off of Foss this next lap. So those tyres on the first Williams are probably going to start begging for mercy quite quickly. Foss stays out again. Thing is, I said, if he pits sort of lap 12, you can take the hards to the end, but if mediums are going to do 20 laps, there might be an argument made for, but if I just stay out for 2 more laps and then put the mediums on, I'll be alright. I'm not sure how much slower it would be, but we were probably soon to find out. I wouldn't be surprised if Johnny just goes into the box once he gives Luke DRS. It looks like Luke will get past. Johnny will probably just dive into the pits. These guys do play the team game. We've seen it here already. George Parr's retired from the session. Are we going to see a safety car? Yes, we are. Oh, Johnny, mate. Mate. Aren't you a lucky duck? Arguably the lap you needed at most. Because you could well have boxed this lap anyway. You're going to get a safety car, and you're probably gonna... You're definitely coming out at worst P8. With tyres that can get you to the end. Hard runners may decide to pit behind him, because they've got a predicament of they're definitely not going to beat Johnny if they don't box. Luke may just try to slow everyone down a little bit on pit entry. Tiny bit. I wouldn't call it any foul play. Posh still managed to speed into the pits behind Mills, so definitely no foul play there, that's for sure. Might have been a pit glitch though. Is an Aston Martin going to get blocked here? Nope. So everybody is going on to the mediums, apart from, well, AI drivers 1, 2 and 3, unless Coates has managed to get back into the session. I'm not entirely sure actually. Stay on board. Car's not ghosted. I think Coates is back in. So this is good for Coates. A nice buyback after being demoted to AI at Red Bull. Oh, he's an AI? No, he's not. Okay. I'm assuming he's here. Throttle trace looks pretty human. Yeah, easy. Compared to what the AIs do. Crazy stuff. Harley, you're last, mate. What are you doing? So everyone's going to get a nice recharge on the batteries. Quill will probably be the victim to begin with. It's a, well, yeah, I mean, they're on the hard tyres, they're definitely going to have some form of issue. Obviously, Mateus got that 5-second penalty to serve. McLaren driver probably hoping just for a late safety car. Nearly hits the back of Johnny, though. With the aid of safety car, Foss's soft-medium strategy is going to pay off perfectly. Second safety car lap here. Should see Bernd Maylander pull it into the pits at the end of this lap. I'm impressed in the sense that we got all the way to end of lap 12 before a safety car being called. And there is... well, there are about 10 human beings left. There are 10 human beings left. We've only lost 2 drivers so far, and one was a retirement of their own virtue. But I think Martin stayed in. Still have points to play for here. He's continuing his pointless run. It's not the Constructors' Championship campaign that Ferrari might be hoping for at the moment. Just one driver so far out of the 2 who have scored, and they're scoring well, but the Williams boys having so much success in P2 and P3 in the championship, they're just gonna run away with Constructors. Righty ho. Should see. There it is. Safety car in this lap. Johnny's going to get the field slowed down nicely. Don't do what I did and not realise you're at safety car line 1 where you're still slowing the field down. People might get a bit annoyed and call you funny names. I digress. If that's... I don't know what Mateus had done. Maybe he just wanted to burn out the Riz a little bit to get some temps in. As Coates has collided with Bauschka. AI Will Coates wouldn't have done that because he wouldn't have been able to, just saying. So Quill's got a penalty of some sorts as well. What's going on? Okay, I thought Foss was actually going to do what I did. That was worrying, as Buchanan's gone into the pits. So that must be for damage. Please for him to retire. There's probably going to be another safety car. Luke sizing up Quill. Quill getting a bit wobbly here. Puts their car perfectly. Oh, just sort of moves across as Luke gets a bit of an overspeed. But it wasn't really it wasn't a late move, it wasn't a jitter, the car just gradually moved across, so acceptable. No signs of foul play, and these two are... I like to think they're friends. I don't really know what the relationship between these two people are like, but as far as I know they get on quite well, so I doubt they'd be doing anything to intentionally yeet the other one into an early grave. However, Quill's defending is just costing Luke a lot here. Luke must dive this. Oh, it's a desperate move from Luke. Maybe might be getting a bit spicy. I think Luke definitely had some of his car alongside, which, as the rules state, does warrant adequate racing room. I think we may just be... It may be subjective as to what adequate is, or whatever the written adjective is. They're all meaning the same thing. Cool gets on that curb a little bit. It's going to compromise them through here. Hard tyres are going to compromise them everywhere else, and Luke is suffering because of it. 2.5 Quills behind the rest of the pack. Quill gets horrible traction just from the hard tyres there. Giving Luke space as they go side by side here. Is Quill going to keep the car in? They are keeping the car in. Luke's trying to hang it out round the outside. Will eventually backs out. I just have to say, it is remarkable bloody driving from both of these people. To go side by side through that, let's call it a straight. No contact the entire time. I thought it was going to be chaos after the lap previous. They didn't touch once. Hello, is Cameron Don going for a Donny move? I think he is. That was very nicely played by the Mercedes driver to get past the Red Bull of Coates. There was, I don't even know if there was a car's width, but he went for it. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact was pretty regular. And that was it. Beautiful stuff. Oh, Hugo, no! And the car didn't ghost. Lucas, mate, I would be fuming. Not at Hugo or anything, but at the game. How did that not ghost? Hugo was essentially stationary. Not his fault. Not Bauschka's fault. I think most of us at this point have had this issue where someone has an incident up ahead. They're like side on the track or something and they just don't ghost. There's such a tight blind corner with the pit exit as well, you don't really see the incident until you're there. So, that's horribly unfortunate. And, yeah, I mean, to put it bluntly, Lucas has put a bunch of pissed off smiley faces in the F1 chat. I think that just, I think that's just his review for F1 22. Submit it on Steam. Give it a thumbs down. On the bright side, Hugo is not going to lose a position for pitting now. So that's pretty good. Swings and roundabouts, I guess. Every cloud has a silver lining. In the Netherlands, got about 20 million clouds that aren't spewing out rain, so serves the penalty as well. Out he pops. He's gapped the Red Bull. He's actually gained a position in the pit lane. Let's go, Hugo. I'm loving the black helmet, by the way. I do very much appreciate that. It means a hell of a lot for anyone who wants to pay tribute. Makes me glad to be a part of this community, and this community, if there's one thing we all have in common, it's we hate the F1 game. F1 22 is a joke. Need a new game engine. Most of the games I play need a new game engine. We'll just have to wait and see what Cody's and EA decide to do for this game. As it currently stands, though, standout performance by AI Rochwell and AI Harley. Absolutely incredible stuff from these two AI drivers. I'm just going to see if there is any chance whatsoever that we can get Rochwell back in the session. Rochwell does want to join back in. I hope you can get in, because your AI car is in a pretty damn good position. And if you don't get back in, I hope you are able to at least get points. I mean, you were here for qualifying. I don't really know how that all works if you don't actually participate as a human being in any of the racing laps. We've got a host migration. Luke has left the session. What is going on here? Is it just Luke? Roswell has managed to join, but I think that's kicked Luke out. Thankfully the safety car will go on for another lap. I can't invite Luke. I don't know who the new lobby host is, but he's going to have to join off of the new lobby host. Oh no! Oh no! I don't think he's going to be particularly happy with what's just happened. He's put him on 12 lap old hards! Oh my god. Oh, Rochwell's up to P5 after joining back, and you know I'm very happy that Rochwell's here. P6. Wait a minute. What the hell has happened here? Ah, it's a desync. Okay, right. Red flag in the race. I'm assuming pre-safety car. Right. Who can off themselves the best? Who can unalive themselves the best? Go on, Rodgwell. You've only just joined back in. How are you going to do it? If at all. Okay, okay. Everyone's just going. Everyone's just going. Okay, cool. Right. Okay, cool. So I'm going to flick the intermission screen up, and I'm going to remember to flick it off when we start. Because I'm a professional. Right, so if we are looking pre-safety car, then we'll be looking... I think safety car was called lap 16? Yeah, okay. Let's have a look. Alright, end of lap 16. We got the yellow flags, safety car, because of the Bauschke incident. So if we take it off of... Right. Cool. Just so everyone is aware, what is going to happen is we're going to have a 12-lap sprint. Is it a 12-lap sprint? Yeah, 12-lap sprint. Or a 25% race. I don't know if it's been decided yet. And we're just going to have things set as they were pre-safety car. Unfortunately, that doesn't buy Lucas back in. However, it does solve the AI Harley problem. Alright. So the lobby's back up. Just waiting for all of the drivers to fit their way in. Not entirely sure what's happening with penalties. I think Mateus and maybe others had penalties before the safety car got called. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think it's discussions about Mateus and the McLaren's penalty because he sped into the pit lane under that first safety car. Well, there really isn't much to talk about at the moment, so I do apologise. We're just unfortunately in that lull of what the hell is going on. Nah, everyone's rejoining. Grid's being set. I think Mateus's penalty will get applied so that before the safety car got called, we'll basically be using whatever delta that everyone was racing at. We've got a screenshot of when it was called. Mateus is going to get put 5 seconds below the delta, which I think will start him in P5. And they'll apply the penalty that way. So he has in effect served 5 seconds during that instance, so he doesn't have to carry a 5-second penalty for the second race, and can plod along as normal. Let's have a little look. I think we're using a 12-lap sprint format. I know there were more laps to run, but just being time conscious, we are basically chopping a few off. I'll just confirm lobby options. Yeah, sprint race. 12-lap sprint. So don't do a me. Don't pit. Don't think you need to pit, because that'd be a bit silly. Especially if it's on a 100% sprint format and you pit for hards. Don't do that. Just don't do that. You'll get laughed at. Don't know what it is with the Netherlands. My brain just gets chucked out the window. Just not a fan. Not a fan whatsoever. Currently got 9 drivers in, so we're still waiting for how many more? 2 more drivers. Who are we missing? That's a good question. Who are we missing? Oh no, we need one. One driver. Is it Coates? Yeah, so Will Coates and the Red Bull that we need. And then we've got everybody. So everyone will get points as long as they finish. And by the looks of things, actually, Will Coates says that he can't race. So we have got everyone. Wow. Right, I'm doing this now because I forget. There we go, boom. Screen. Don't say I don't learn things. We're going racing, lads. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. There's only 4 people, so it's not really pluralised, but hey ho. 4 people who are watching, and myself. One of them is myself. 3 people who are watching. Thanks for sticking it out with me. Let's hope that we can be rewarded with a bit of a bloody fight. I mean that in the tooth and nail sort of sense. See what's going on. See what these guys do. I think everybody will run it on the mediums except one psychopath who will run it on softs. That's my prediction. Let's close it. Oh, I said close OBS. Shrink it down so I can watch the stream. Those action replays going. I want you live. It's a live stream for a reason. Someone's hit the ready up button. We've got 10 seconds to lift off before hopefully chaos happens. As long as there aren't safety cars, they seem to break the game. Anyway, we've got 5 red lights, and it's go. Very short hold up for the sprint. I think that has caught Luke out on the second row as he's dropping like a stone. Foss and Iron have been able to get away nicely stuff. I say he dropped like a stone. Luke is only down to P4, which really ain't too bad at all. Getting gapped by Quill. Let's have a look at the tyre situation. Yes! I called it perfectly. Thank you, Johnny, for being the, as I described, psychopath. However, you are leading, so maybe not. I mean, Johnny made the softs go 12 laps last time, so he's just going to do it again. He's got the advantage of fresh softs as well, because it was a relobby. AWS saying mediums or hards on a no stop. Reduce the hards in a sprint race. Come on. What a ridiculous idea that would be. Oy. Iron is keeping Johnny pretty honest though, and then Quill behind's just getting skill diffed at the moment as they hover within a second of Iron. I wouldn't be surprised if Quill's just got a missile of a setup, but no, they don't seem to. Everyone seems to be running similar wing levels. I mean, everyone gets points. Whoever finishes gets points. So as long as you stay in and don't unalive yourself until lap 10, 11, you'll be fine. Nothing really going on at the moment. We've got Rodwell challenging the back of Cameron Don at the moment. All the gaps, they're pretty close. I'm going to have a full DRS train next lap, I think. Just looking at these gaps so far. Differing uses of battery, though. Some people in the midfield have dumped quite a bit in these early stages. Hugo's, well, he's at the back of the pack at the moment. It just means anyone who has an instant in front of him, he'll be able to gain plenty. Absolutely plenty. Around the banked corner onto lap number 3. 12.6 fastest lap at the moment. I'm expecting that to be quicker than anything we had last race because of fuel levels and stuff. They're fueled for a sprint race rather than a 36 lapper. So they would have had like 20 laps of fuel left rather than the 10 they've got now. See if anyone's underfueled actually, speaking of fuel. I think everyone's just going to be sensible here. There's only 9 drivers on the track. This is half an F1 race we're watching here, really. Quill is scarily just within 1 second of Johnny and Iron, but you've got to think, actually they're all on pretty similar battery levels. Did Quill get DRS? Yeah, they did. Good stuff for them. They'll be able to keep going with these guys. Nothing particularly spicy is happening at the moment. There's still time. I'm worried that complacency will creep in. So Johnny has actually managed to get out of a second of Iron, and Iron doesn't have DRS even more crucially. Still gaining. So Iron's got the straight line set up. Quill grazes that inside curve. That's going to drop them out of DRS now. Luke Mills behind is loving the sight of this struggling Mercedes at the moment. Cameron Don just behind, also out of DRS. And Mercedes, they seem to be struggling a bit at the moment. As long as they can hold position, that should not be an issue. As Mateusz Bosch off the restart is down one position at the moment. Same with Luke Mills. So we're hoping to gain that back, and I'd imagine and hopefully a bit more for them as well, as they'd serve that 5-second penalty mid red flag. That's why they've been dropped down a few positions off the restart here. Quill and Iron are very, very close to being outside of a second. Someone who is Iron. Iron did not get DRS there. I think Quill did, but they've used all of their battery for it. Mills behind is going to be absolutely worshipping that flashing red light on the back of the Mercedes car, as Mateusz Bosch is going to go for a dive bomb. As contact. Definitely had a right to racing room there. I think camera may have just misjudged the closing speed of the Mercedes, of the McLaren. That was a bit of a lunge, but pretty within reason from Mateusz. Thankfully, no damage by the looks of things. At least just damaged pride, really. It's probably the most irreparable damage of them all. These cars are actually very close. These three here, Kalle Pukkinen managed to close in a decent amount with the one move we've seen this race since the red flag. Stays behind. So Pukkinen showing how not to dive bomb. It's a little bit of a worse exit out of the three. Don's had a twitch and then he's tried to correct it. Mercedes driver's still going, but he's out of any contention beyond P9, unfortunately. Pukkinen has dumped the battery on the straight. He really wants to get this move done on the McLaren of Mateusz Bosch, but it could be argued he could have just waited a lap. Mateusz would have had DRS at that point, I think. Now there's an even playing field for both of these drivers. Other than these two, the only other fight going on, arguably, are the top two and then the second top two. Got pairs running around here at the moment. Cameron is deciding to carry on without the front wing. Rightio. It's an interesting call. Zandvoort is pretty downforce dependent. Maybe he's thinking if someone makes a mistake and pits, maybe he can stay ahead. But he's lost 2.5 seconds in sector 2 alone. I don't think that one will pay off realistically. I would just take the bullet and pit. He's lost 3 seconds. A slap from when I went on board with him. That was only realistically half a lap ago. Mills nipping at the heels of Quill still. I think Cameron is going to go into the pits. It doesn't really matter if he speeds unless it's a safety car. Doesn't speed into the pits. I wouldn't expect him to retire, because he's going to get points regardless. Important points in the championship, even if they are a few. These little handfuls of points can make a difference. Anyway, as it looked, the Cameron has gone onto the soft tyres. Hop back on board with Pukkinen in the Haas to see if he can make any inroads to Mateusz Bosch. Nothing too dramatic. However, Mills is actually right on the back of Quill. Gets a bit of a soggy bottom, I'm going to call that. Don't know why. Luke, with his soggy bottom, is actually trying to make the move on Quill. He hasn't got any battery. Quill is a little bit. It's not going to be close enough here. Unfortunately for the Williams driver. Quill gets a wobble on, never mind. It's a Quill issue. Oh, it's tight. The Masters of not hitting each other in this section. There might be drama here. If one of them gets ran onto the grass, it could be it. Quill manages to stay ahead. It's a minor front ring to front right tyre contact between Luke and Quill. I'd be surprised if that results in any damage. I'm just keeping an eye out at the front as well, as Irons mediums are probably going to be the superior compound of tyre to be on at this point. See if Luke gets a move done on Quill. I think this might be within reach here. Brakes slightly later, goes a bit of a lunge. Quill brakes even later though, decides to really defend the inside of the left-hander here. It's Quill playing a bit of a cat and mouse with DRS. I think they might be. I think they may have got it just right. However, look at this for a fight. Mateus is going to go down the middle. It's 3 wide. Quill backs out. Oh, sorry, Luke backs out. Quill hangs it out round the outside. No contact, I believe, from any of these drivers here. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Quill gets a tap on the left, and this could drop him down to last out of these 4 drivers, and it will with the wobbler. Does anyone have damage? Doesn't look like it. So Posh getting the elbows out manages to benefit the most out of these 4 drivers here. That was fun to watch. Hard to believe we were at Zandvoort when we were witnessing that. Let's hope this continues. We'll give the steward something to do anyway. If it does, I think things might start to get a bit spicy with what will be 3 racing laps once these guys round the banked right hand corner. Phew. Crazy stuff. Quill's dropped out a little bit here. Probably just getting back into the rhythm of things. I don't think anyone's really got anything left to go for a move though. Batteries are dead. The only person with battery is you got Hugo with 45%, Iron with 48%. It's going to be squeaky bum time for Foss. Okay. So we got not really a team radio, but Cameron Dom needs to go, so he's going into the pits to retire. He will get points as he's completed 90%-ish race distance. However, he's been told to get points, so even if it's not quite 90%, he should receive them. I was wondering what these yellow flags were until I remembered that Cameron had just retired in the pits. I think Iron is going to make the move on Foss this lap, and you've got to say this is a pretty convincing case for the Ferrari. He's got the less draggy of the 2 setups, and he puts that Ferrari with some assurance into P1. These guys, through not fighting in the early stages and just staying with each other, have netted themselves 3.5 seconds here as Roswell and Hugo are having a bit of a fight, giving us some entertainment, which is what we like to see. Never used to like the Alpine engine until I raced with it yesterday, and now I absolutely love it. Such a grainy, mechanical sound. All the others are sort of pitched up and weird, and this one, just an engine, mate. Lovely stuff. What's going on up ahead? Any moves being made? Doesn't look like it. No one really overspending on battery. I think Quill might have minor damage. It's hard to say. Or they might just be chilling. Buchanan's not going to get within touching distance of Luke despite setting a purple sector 3. Anyone who uses 20% or more battery on the straight with DRS will get a purple sector 3 though, to be fair. Looking for alternate ways through. It's sad that with these bank corners, or this bank left-hander, you can take all sorts of different lines. But then there can just still be no way through for a move. Oh, Foss has completely fallen off the back of Iron here in this final lap. I think he's just consolidating the P2. The only realistic fight still to go is Hugo on Roswell here for the final finishing position. P8. So we'll see what Hugo can do. It's a much nicer exit. He's gonna, I'd imagine, hug the backside of that AlphaTauri as much as he can to get the beautiful run through this section here. I'm just going to hop on board with Iron for another race win, 4th of the season, with Jonathan Foss coming in second and Mateusz Posch, despite that 5-second penalty on the grid to start, netting the P3, Mills P4, Buchanan P5, Quill P6, and then Roswell stays ahead of Hugo for P7. However, Posch might get investigated, depending on how major that contact was with Quill. We'll have to wait and see. Ignore the sprint race format. Who got the fastest lap? I think it was a 12.6 or something. Good grief. Oh, no race director, lovely stuff. Good, good. If someone could pull the race director for me, that would be fantastic. Because my game's broken. Thanks, Crossplay. Well, well, well. We've done it. Race over. Beautiful stuff. Absolutely beautiful. More or less. It was nice to actually have some fighting despite there being such a few counter cars on the grid. It has to be said. That was very nice. I very much did enjoy that. Wow. Lovely stuff. Just going to quickly see if anyone wants an interview. If not, I'll end the stream. It would be interesting to hear from our top 3 guys what their thoughts on the race was. I think for the most part, those who were at the front stayed at the front.
Hello.
Hello, hello. How are we doing? Decent. Yeah, fair enough.
Sweaty for sure.
It did look fairly sweaty, I have to say, especially in the sprint race where you guys just sort of. It looked like you'd mutually agreed to just wait out the soft tyre advantage and just gap the midfield while they were fighting.
that was what I'm doing. I was just keeping close to Johnny, keeping in the DRS, saving my battery for one straight. And when I got close to him, I used all my battery and I had him.
Yeah, no, it looked pretty secure when you went for the move with a couple of laps to go. I think the choice of timing was pretty good, and you seem to have a slightly less draggy setup as well. I think you gained about a tenth just on slipstream.
Johnny was using 50 wings, I think.
Ooh, okay, fair enough.
50-46, yeah.
50-46,
So,
wow.
Devastating.
the team screwed me. I really think it's the team's fault. Nothing I can do really. Just
At least you have a team.
Williams still bad.
I was saying just on the team comments that if your teammate had stayed in,
Wait, I have a
despite the
teammate.
well, I mean, you haven't got
Do
one
I?
who scored points yet. However, if they had stayed in and not just kind of sailed across the that little left-hander at the start of Sector 3, they would have got points just from being present.
Yep. But I guess he struggles to finish a race, so maybe you should practice on that first.
One thing I do want to talk about, just because just before I move on to Mateus who's joined us, is your soft start strategy in the feature race, Johnny. Were you hoping for a safety car?
Yeah. I mean, I would have been good without it, but of course it didn't hurt. But I think I would have made it with mediums anyway, so didn't matter too much. But yeah.
Yeah, I was discussing I was sort of expecting you to pit around sort of lap 12, and in my head I was like, 10 to 12 will go for hards, and I thought, well, if he just extends and just bumps those higher pressures up a bit, you can just go on the mediums anyway, because the mediums will do, realistically, 23, 24 laps before they actually want to explode.
Yep.
But that safety car did come at a pretty ideal time for you, especially with the lower wear under safety car as well.
There's no denying that.
Definitely not. Right, I'm going to shift my attention on to Mateus now. P3 in the end, I believe. Good
Yeah.
comeback drive after the 5-second penalty got applied during the re-lobby. I think it's probably the best way they could have applied it.
Yeah, definitely. Better for me at least.
Yeah, he had a nice battle with Pukkanen for a good portion of the mid stage of the race, and then just sort of out of nowhere, you guys were on the back of Luke and Quill because they were fighting hammer and
they were
tongue.
like side by side entire sector 3, so that was great for me.
It was very good. I saw you dive it up the through the middle on that main
That
straight.
was sketchy as fuck. But it fitted, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, fair enough. Talk me through the contacts. I sort of saw it on the stream, and it looked like you and Quill were basically parallel side by side, but from what I could see, because I wasn't looking at onboard, I was just sort of with the overview cam. It looked like Quill got game physicsed a bit from the contact.
2 seconds.
No worries at all. But yeah, I don't know if you leading guys would have seen, but obviously behind you guys you had Luke and Quill fighting, and then Mateus and Callie, within a couple of laps, they'd sort of caught up within a good 2 seconds that they were behind, and we just had this 4-man blob bombing it down the main straight. And I think Mateus came out on top, and he unfortunately can't talk anymore, so I'll sum this up before we end the stream. But there was some contact with Quill, so depending on if Quill wants to investigate it or anything, there might be a change on the podium. But yeah, anything else you guys would like to say before I end it all off?
No, not really.
Home win in the pocket.
Another win in the pocket. It's your
Home win.
now.
Home win.
Home win. Oh yeah. I was saying I originally had Harley with me, but he had to go. I was saying, do we hype up Iron if he's watching the stream in case he bottles it at his
No, I
home
wasn't
race? But no, it must always good to win your home race, that's for sure. Off to Monza next week. What are our thoughts?
Well, I might get a quali ban, but we have to see on that.
beautiful track, so I'm looking forward to it.
It is
It's
one
a
of the
lot better
better.
than this shitty one.
I was going to say, you can actually make moves on the other one, so if it's a quali ban, not the worst track to get it. At least you didn't get it here.
Also, a lot of points to catch up.
Yeah, that's very
The
true.
sprint race.
Oh yeah, the sprint as well. I mean, it's good and bad because you've got more points on offer. However, Williams very much at the moment do have two drivers scoring points, so good for drivers, maybe not so much for constructors. We'll have to see. But I think I'm going to end it all there. Thank you very much for joining for interviews and things like that.
Yep.
And yeah, we will see you all Monday, 7 o'clock UK time for the first of the 3 Italian Grand Prix sprint races for F3. But until then.